Is that a happy face?
That's a happy face.
It's difficult to tell sometimes with guitar players, isn't it?
Yeah. What's that one? I don't know.
Welcome back, everybody, to Andertons TV. Dave's back in the house. Who are we trying to be today, Dave?
We are trying to be the one and only Mr. Rory Gallagher.
Sounds like an intro to a Mr. Ben cartoon, I think. Sort of like, I feel like you should walk into a changing room and then just walk out the other side with dinosaurs. And yes. Sorry, Rory Gallagher.
Yes.
Okay, I am a self-confessed novice when it comes to Rory Gallagher. I know very little about what his tone would be. As is always the way with these videos, though, what we need to try and do is start with an affordable guitar that's in the ballpark and an affordable amplifier that's in the ballpark. So what have we got, Mr. Dave?
So we've got the Ibanez. I forget what's these. The AZ. How do you say that?
AZES.
AZES.
AZ.
The Azez. It sounds like some kind of like weird Mayan god. It's like,
perhaps it was. The god of affordable instruments.
This one is very nice. I love the colour.
Yes. So 3 single coil Strat-esque guitar because Rory presumably just used Strats, right?
Yeah. I mean, he's most renowned for his 61 with no finish on it. There's little bits of finish left. But he had more than that. He had a 1979. It was given to him by Fender because Fender didn't like the fact he was using this battered up old Strat, and they were saying, that's given us a bad look. Can you stop using that? And they gave him this 79 anniversary Strat, one that says anniversary there. Yeah. So he never used it apart from in the studio. He also had a Strat with 2 humbuckers in it as well, which is, I've seen him use it every now and again, but it's very rare. And he also, during the late 70s, coming into the 80s, his main Strat, his 61, he used to sweat profusely, Rory did. And all the sweat from all the years of gigging finally got into the wood of the neck. And the neck went, whee, and went mental. So they had to take the neck off, and he put it in his mum's shed to dry. And Fender sent him a replacement. And he said the guitar didn't feel right anymore. So he started using more so a Music Master, which he had modded. It was a single pickup originally, but Rory actually modded it with 2 Strat pickups, as he had tendencies to do. He had a Telecaster at one point with 3 Strat pickups in it, which was an Esquire. So he was modding these really expensive, well, they weren't then, but nowadays, with guitars with all sorts of different bits. But he had a Music Master, and this kind of reminds me of it because it was white. And
there we go. That's why we chose that. Is it true that the high sort of alcohol content in his sweat probably was why there was very little finish on any of his guitars? He had
acidic sweat. It was some kind of rare blood group he belonged to. It just melted the finish.
So nothing to do with how much he drank then? It was all to do with like a rare blood. He did.
Unfortunately, far too much for him.
Sadly.
Bless him.
Right.
Yes.
Now, controversial.
Yes.
I thought your middle name was Solid State. Dave Solid State Simpson.
I can't actually touch it.
No, don't touch it.
Yeah.
In my personal opinion, I mean, Rory Gallagher was a Vox user.
Yes.
My personal feeling is that of all the tones that solid state amplifiers are able to achieve, and great tones nowadays, the AC30 kind of slightly driven AC30 tone is still...
AC30.
It's tough to do, right?
Even I'll admit that. The... Plexis, you can get close to Plexis, you can get close to Mesa Boogie's, you can get close to Fenders. Voxes are a weird beast. There's something in them that only Vox do, and no one's quite got that yet.
So this is a Vox AC10, which is one of the smallest tube amplifiers that they do. 10 watts, as the model would suggest, but valve 10 watts, you can do a little club, stick a mic in front of it, and happily gig away with that. So that's going to be our basic tone. We probably are going to go for a slight edge of breakup tone. Now, your pedal-wise, you were saying that Rory... Oh, and I should also... This was allowed because this is fairly affordable. These are about $450. So, I mean, you could, a decent solid-state amplifier would be that kind of dose. So, right. You said to me that Rory's pedal sort of collection was relatively limited.
Yeah, I mean, early on, when he started, I mean, he had a band before he went solo was called Taste, and in that he had an AC30, treble booster, Stratocaster, done. And then basically after kind of Taste disbanded in 1970, he did his own band, the Rory Gallagher band, and he switched. Well, for a while he was still using his AC30. Then he switched to a Fender Bassman. He also had a Fender Concert, still using the treble booster, still straight into the amp, no pedals in front of him. And then later in the 70s, he started to experiment a little bit more. But Rory was a bit weird when he started experimenting with pedals because they used to live on top of the amp, not on the floor.
Like an always-on type.
Always-on
adapter.
He used very heavily a old Boss pedal, which I've never seen one, but they do exist. It was a Boss Driver, and it's a very weird, old, archaic distortion pedal. It's about this big, and it's got a graphic EQ on it.
I will reissue that with my friends at Tone City, and we'll call it the Bus Driver.
Yes.
I just think, why not?
It could be in the shape of a bus. Yeah,
and red.
Yes. Yeah. But
twice as tall as a normal pedal.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got two pedals here that we want to do boosty things with. I was a bit disappointed. I immediately thought that there was an Electro Harmonics used to do an affordable treble boost called the Screaming Bird, but we couldn't find that in the Electro Harmonics catalogue anymore, so assume it's been discontinued. So we've got a Spark Boost and an Ibanez Mini Booster, both of which have some EQ on it, so we ought to be able to accentuate the treble boostiness of them. We've got some distortion pedals, so a range of different, we've got Boss DS1, we've got a couple of Tone City ones, we've got a Tube Screamer clone from Behringer and an Amber Nectar from Landlord. Phasers, you said he was a
phaser and flanger. Again, this is a pedal that kind of like until like the 80s he just kind of had on top of his amp, and he would just go and turn it on when he wanted, leave it on, and then turn it off when he didn't. So basically he had like a Boss Driver and then another flanger phaser pedal on it, and then later on it became at his feet.
So we've got a couple of phasers and a flanger here, from a couple from Tone City and one from TC. And then this is the bit that I thought was a bit odd, because again, not being a big, not having a lot of knowledge about Rory Gallagher's kind of back catalogue, but you asked for some octave dividers, so an octave downwards.
Octave down, yeah.
Okay, so we've got the Moore Pure Octave, which will do both up and down. We've got the TC Nether, which I think just goes down. And then we've got the Electro-Harmonics Pitchfork, which again can do ups or downs. So let's see where we get. So what should we start with first? It's just line drivers?
Yeah, I mean, I'll go for full out distortion to start with, and then we can kind of like fit things around that. I want to kind of get the kind of core distorted tone of Rory's before we kind of dive anywhere else.
So for me, the treble booster thing is a very Vox synonymous thing, because driven Vox amplifiers tend to go a bit dark.
Yes, yeah.
And have this excessive sort of bass end, and the idea, I suppose, but treble boosters would drive the amp a bit more, but also remove some of that bottom end. So these aren't really distortion pedals as such. These are just gunning the amp. So do you want to do them before the normal distortion pedals, or alongside?
Yeah, we can try them first. Actually, I'd be very interested to see how they work with the amp. Because it was actually, if it wasn't for Rory, Brian May wouldn't have his sound. Because
Rory was first, was he?
Yeah. Because Brian May went down to see him play, I think at the Marquee. It all happened at the Marquee. Actually did as well. And he went there to see him play. And at the end of the gig, he'd never heard anything quite like it. And he went up to Rory and said, "How do you get your sound?" And Rory very graciously brought him on stage after the gig when he was packing down and said, "This is how I do it." Brian immediately went out, AC30, treble booster. It all comes from Rory.
I want that end. You want one of those.
Yep.
And here we go. So now, again, Brian May, and I don't know about Rory Gallagher, but I assume would do the same. They would gun their amplifiers and then use a treble booster.
Yes.
And they would have had AC30s with no master volume on
Indeed,
it.
yes.
AC10 has a master volume, so we can gun the preamp section and keep the overdrive the power section fairly manageable. But do you want set yourself up a tone here that you think is where you want to be? Woo!
Oh, reverb. would say probably around there, and then
Happy days.
kick it on the booster.
And we can obviously do whatever we want with these boosters, but I'm going to start them off with the sort of bass rolled down and the treble rolled up to sort of try and give some sort of sense of what a treble booster might have done. So here's the Ibanez one. Let's just start playing without.
Sounds pretty cool.
And the TC. Not a lot in it. I think actually the TC one's actually less expensive than the Ibanez one, and has got more stuff on it.
Yeah.
So even though I kind of feel a bit indistinguishable, really, aren't they?
I do like the Spark more. It just seems to have a bit more oomph to it, though. It kicks out. Yeah.
I don't think you can quite replicate, even with this rig, the sense of an AC30 just gunned.
It's terrifying.
Hey ho, right. So Spark is our first pedal to make it into the rig. Wait, do you think you're going to use that at the beginning or at the end?
Well, so I mean, early on, that was it. That was Rory's setup. Vox, Strat.
So this could be the end of the video.
That could be it, yeah. Bye. But basically later on, he kind of went away from the treble boosters, but it's nice to have them because they really do kind of do that Rory thing. He went away from them just for that Boss driver, which just kind of was a distortion thing. So if we go there next.
Well, let's go here next, nice. and then you can have that on the floor and turn it on or off as need be. 5 overdrive pedals, well, mic, distortion and overdrive pedals, everything from a Tube Screamer clone from Behringer called a TO800 through to Amber Nectar from Landlord, I forget that what it is, it's like a mild overdrive, a Blues Breakery type pedal, a full bore lunatic distortion pedal from Tone City, and a good old fashioned Boss DS1. A whole gamut of different overdrives here. Let's see which one has the most Roriness about it. So, and Dave's still got the the Spark on the floor, which we may or may not use. So, shall I just start?
Yeah, I'll go for it.
If everything's on 12, you can tell me to add or remove.
He tended to have a very mid-rangey kind of growl to it. A bit more gain on that one.
More gain. This is probably the pedal with the least gain, but here is the maximum.
It's not bad. It's kind of in there.
If you add the Spark, does it go? Too much?
With the Spark it was. On its own, it was pretty good.
So let's try the next one along.
It's kind of like flubbing out on the low, isn't it?
I think there's so much bass end in a Vox amplifier.
Yeah.
I wonder if that's where the Tube Screamery type of thing works, because we're removing some of it. I wonder if, again, it's just a question of maybe this with the Spark, but level down a bit on the Spark, because it's kind of, and let's see what happens.
About 12 o'clock.
Yeah.
Nah, it's still kind of...
Still flubbing.
Yeah.
I love that word. Is that even a word?
It is.
Blues Breaker. This may flub as well. I don't know.
That's actually...
I like the tone of it.
It's nice, yeah. That's really nice. It's kind of what the... there's a period like 1974, the kind of Rory tone, that one.
I'm interested to see the sort of Tube Screamer versus Blues Breaker different. More definite mid-range boost in there, which I'm not sure. Again, I'm not the Rory fan. I didn't really like.
The Bluesman was definitely more Rory.
Okay. So bucket loads of gain from this pedal.
Okay. That's pretty cool. I mean, okay, a little less tone. Maybe tone it like 12 o'clock-ish.
Didn't sound to me like the amp was terribly happy about the amount of gain that was lumping into it from here.
I quite like the punishment it had. So I quite like that. He kind of brings out the pinch harmonic-y thing that Rory would do. It's kind of pretty cool.
Was he, again, I feel so like, you know, newbie talking like this, but was he a real early pinch harmonic kind of?
And tapping as well. Like he would do these. Very, very primitive tapping, but still tapping.
And what year did Taste start then?
Taste were from like 66, maybe something around that. I could be wrong with that one, but they were early 60s,
rock
late 60s.
Band, yeah. Wow, cool. Okay, DS1.
Okay. I like the DS1.
Yeah, I do too. Let's just
really
let's
cool.
shoot out between these two and choose a winner.
The DS1's got more of that later Rory thing. It's crazy between the two.
Yeah.
The Bluesman's like early Rory, like maybe to mid 70s, and then like from late 70s onwards, the DS1 is taking the place.
As chief adjudicator of these videos, I'm happy if you'd have both. Because they're both affordable, right?
Cool.
So, and there's not going to be many other pedals after this. So let's put both these on the board.
Cool.
I personally really liked how the Bluesman worked with the Vox. It was
a great sound.
It didn't seem to overly muddy up anything.
No.
It seemed to have a nice clarity to it. Now, one of these pedals here, the TC one, is called the Blood Moon.
Yeah.
And didn't you say there's a
song called Moonchild.
Oh, Moonchild.
Yeah, so close but not quite.
I wonder, maybe, who knows. So, we'll start with the Summer Orange. This is, again, I think it's like an MXR phaser copy type thing.
So. It's not bad. There's too much to it.
Okay. I mean, I can't help you here, man. I don't know what we're going for.
A bit more of a mild kind of phase, a bit. It's the right kind of speed, but it's kind of a bit. Nah, it's not really doing it.
It might be where it is in the chain. I kind of wonder if maybe it was after the. Let's do it quick because it's easier to change.
Yeah.
If we go, so this is guitar in. So if that now goes into the DS1.
Yes.
So what we've done, ladies and gentlemen, now is rearrange the order of the pedals, nothing else, so that we go into the distortion pedals first and then into these phaser and flanger pedals, just to see if we can try and make the phaser sit a little bit more subtly in the mix. Okay. So here's without, and then I'll...
better.
That's better, yeah.
That's a lot better. That's
Okay.
cool, actually.
Well, you tell me. I've got most of these pedals here will have a rate and a depth control, and then a sense of like how much whooshiness do you want to the effect.
That's pretty much bob on.
Is
the
it?
speed's perfect, so I would say that's pretty cool on that one. So.
All right. Well, I'll try and replicate that then on the other two. So we're blending these in quite subtly.
So I really like that one, but it's not. That's
so Van
close.
Halen. It's unbelievable.
It is, yeah. What we got?
You got rate,
the
depth,
rates,
and feedback. So
I'd sorry, maybe the depth down. Feedback down, maybe on that one.
Yeah.
I think the first one's still my favourite. It just needs a bit less kind of like that's
a bit
technical
less.
term.
Hang on, there is a control on here. There isn't. I don't know what to do. I'm afraid I can literally just turn the feedback and the depth almost all the way off, and
that's probably about right. It's like well, I can't see. It's orange. My eyes don't work.
Or we can just not have a phaser pedal in the mix.
Yeah, I mean, Rory wouldn't use one too much. I mean, none of those really feel like they're doing quite what his do. If that makes sense, like they're not quite right.
It wasn't a chorus pedal. It was definitely a phaser.
It was definitely a phaser or a flanger. Yeah. I mean, he kind of flipped between the two, but it was like I say. I mean, Rory invariably just had his pedals on his amp, and that was basically like that.
Well, look, take the. You were leaning towards this one as a preference. Yeah. I mean, feel free to adjust and put it in front or behind or wherever you would like it to go. This last one is my most intriguing one. Mm-hmm. I assume you want these first in the chain, do you? But the octave pedal. Okay. So 3 octave pedals here. One is old school, kind of in the olden days. The early octave pedals would have just been a downwards octave pedal, and you'd have needed something like an Octavia type pedal to do some sort of weird harmonic upwards. But more commonly nowadays on things like the Moore Pure Octave and the Pitchfork, you can elect all sorts of different intervals, up or downwards. So I guess if we want the Pure Octave to copy this one, we're going -1 and -2. And I don't know where we put the. Any ideas where we put the Pitchfork?
What we got?
Would it be 1, 2, and 3, or is that just a? So on the Pitchfork, we're just basically choosing the single octave down. We've got blend controls, I think, on all of them. Well, let's just see. Let's just see what it does. I mean, again, I'm led by you, Dave. What are we going subtle or over the top? Or?
It's just kind of, it was a thing that he started doing in the 80s, really, more than anything, where in his solos, he would, songs like Bad Penny and whatnot, instead of just being kind of straight distortion, he would put on the octave divider for the riff and solos. And he started using it on certain riffs. There's a song called I Ain't No Saint, which has got it on all the time. And it sounds really cool. It's just really heavy.
So it's always the dry original signal plus the octave
plus
below.
The octave, yeah. Yep.
Well, let's see what we get.
I'd say the level on that one's to come down fairly substantially. It's kind of... It's weird.
Too much? Or?
It's a funny lower octave, that one. It's kind of like the octave isn't very clean.
Okay.
Like it's very muddy, but we'll
Where
see
are
what
we
they want
going? We're going distortions into the octaves, right?
Yes.
So
I always get mixed up with signal chains because I always start at the amp and go
you go
that
backwards,
way.
Do you?
I go
right.
backwards.
So
and I've been told off many
whatever
times.
distortion you've got from the pedals,
Yes.
is going to go into the octave pedals.
Yes.
So
Yeah. So
here's the TC one.
Okay. A bit more on the level on that one.
Yeah.
This one.
I'm trying to. They just call it octave 1 and octave 2. I was.
Yeah.
I'm not sure which is the.
I would say it's just that one. Yeah.
I think I've got it the wrong way around. I think octave 2 is the normal octave, and octave 1 is below that. So.
Actually,
it's hard to hear octave 1, isn't it? So,
yeah, it'd be the octave 2 one that'd be a bit more Rory. Oh, actually, maybe the other one, actually. I could be.
Let's just put them both in.
Yeah. No.
It's definitely that. I don't think this is working terribly well. Not working, but it's not the right pedal for this.
No, it's definitely not, no. Can we try the pitchfork?
Yes.
See, that's more like it. It's very strange, but yeah.
So all we've got here is a blend control. So all the way up, you only hear the octave, and all you hear is the other way.
Yeah, I mean.
So you just want something
I would
supple,
say about
do you?
yeah. I would say about there, and it's mainly for those kind of like riffs, like. That's cool.
What I like about the pitchfork, and maybe not for Rory, but is you can choose it in its latched mode, so you just turn it on and off like you would a normal pedal. Or you can have your like royal blood mode where it's only on like that and then it's off.
Oh, that's more cool.
So if you were thinking for a Rory Gallagher, it was just a question of like, you're just using it to accentuate a really quick lead riff, and then you want to take your foot off of it, it kind of works like that as well, which is very cool.
That. Very cool.
Right, well, I shall hand you the pitchfork.
Yes, that is the one.
You can insert it into your chain wherever you want to, and then play us out with your favourite Rory Gallagher-ness. And there we are. Hope you've enjoyed this video, everybody. If you want to see Dave in, doing a whole series of these videos with different artists, please like and subscribe to this channel. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss anything. And if you think we got close with any of these pedals or guitar or amp and you want to find out more about that, again, links below. Dive on over to the Andertons website and check them out. Dave, you've been a legend as always. Thanks for the little lesson on Rory Gallagher.
Yes.
And what are you going to play us out with?
I'm going to do Bad Penny. It was the first song I heard of Rory's, and it's still my favourite Rory song. So I'm going to do that.
Good for you, man.
Yes, and it uses the octave. And
let's go for it.
Yeah. I need the other lead.
I do apologise. Yes. Of course you do.
Yeah.